California jury found Bill Cosby liable for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman over 50 years ago and ordered him to pay nearly $60 million in damages as a result. Cosby, once fondly known as America's dad for his iconic role as Cliff Huxtable in The Cosby Show, has seen his legacy forever tarnished as over 60 women have leveled similar allegations against him. He became one of the most recognizable faces of the Me Too movement and was the first high-profile conviction of the era. The verdict was overturned 3 years later after the Supreme Court ruled that he shouldn't have been charged in that case to begin with because of a past non-prosecution agreement. Since his 2021 release from prison, he's faced a string of lawsuits from women accusing him of sexual assault. Donna Motzinger, the woman at the center of this suit, celebrated her legal victory, but said she doesn't believe the $59.25 million, quote, makes up for what happened, but added, quote, it's the only avenue of justice that there is. Attorney Angela Reddock-Wright joins Forbes True Crime to discuss the staggering verdict. Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a reporter with Forbes. Joining me now is attorney Angela Reddock-Wright. Angela, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
A civil jury in California found disgraced comedian Bill Cosby liable of drugging and raping a woman in 1972, and they ordered him to pay her over $59 million in damages. This is by far the largest financial penalty Cosby has faced so far in all of his legal battles. So to start off the conversation, talk to us about what you make of the verdict.
It definitely, as you stated, is staggering, and it's sending a message, throughout the legal community and those who are pursuing claims as adult survivors of sexual assault and sexual abuse that, the public is fed up with these claims. They are returning record verdicts that we haven't seen in years past. So it's definitely sending a message. This particular verdict, it includes $40 million in punitive damages. And what that says is the jury was particularly outraged by the conduct that's alleged here.
I do want to dive a little deeper in the allegation that's at the center of this story here, that's at the heart of this lawsuit, because it apparently happened over 50 years ago. Donna Motzinger, she's the woman in this lawsuit. She was in her 30s then, she's in her 80s now, but she said at the time in 1972, she alleged that Cosby invited her to his comedy show. He apparently picked her up in his limo. She got out after he gave her a glass of wine. They go into the comedy show. When she was in his dressing room, she said she didn't feel good. He apparently gave her a pill that she believed was aspirin. She took that pill, and then she started fading in and out of consciousness. She was helped into his limo, and then the next thing she knows, she wakes up semi-naked in her house, and she says that she was drugged and raped by Bill Cosby. This is an accusation that Bill Cosby has denied, and his attorney apparently argued that these claims were, quote, based on nothing more than speculation and conjecture, leaving no triable issues of material fact. The jury here obviously disagreed. But in your opinion, why? Because this is an incident that, like I said, allegedly happened 5 decades ago.
Yes, well, I think there's a combination of factors here. So one, when we look at the lawsuits against Cosby, I believe there's been over 10 lawsuits, or at least over 10 adults, individuals who've come forward saying they were sexually assaulted and abused by him. And some of those cases have already been tried. So we have the history and the background of those cases, which are in the back and on the minds of the jurors as they're weighing these issues. So they probably heavily suggest to the juries that if it happened in other instances or alleged to have happened in other instances, then more likely than not, it occurred in this instance as well. And then with respect to this particular case, often what makes a difference in the minds of a jury when they're weighing whether conduct likely happened or didn't happen is the level of detail that the victim is able to bring forward as they are testifying and providing evidence of what they claim happened to them. So I think in a juror's mind in this case, if they felt that the details were so detailed, so to speak, in that Ms. Mossinger was able to recall, general time frame. She was able to recall what she was doing at that time. She worked at a restaurant. She recalled that there was a week where Mr. Cosby allegedly came to the restaurant daily and, was approached by people because he was celebrity status. She recalls him making a call to her son, which she felt was a form of grooming, right, from a telephone booth. And so the details here, I think, probably said to the jury, you know what, we feel that it's not so generalized that we can't really make a decision, but that it's specific enough that we feel that it's more likely than not, when we think about the allegations, that this happened and that it happened in the way that Ms. Motsinger described.
And other Cosby accusers testified here, which in a juror's mind could offer a potential pattern of abuse, pattern of behavior here of drugging and assaulting women. But I do want to break down that $59.25 million number and talk about how you think the jury arrived there. Because they say that Bill Cosby has to pay $17.5 million for past damages, $1.75 million is for future damages, and an eye-popping $40 million is for punitive damages. And as you said earlier, this number could be sending a message here. It's so much higher than the other two numbers here. What do you think the message that the jury is sending is?
So punitive damages are awarded by a jury when they feel that the conduct is above and beyond just conduct that should just be punished by the numbers that you described, the economic damages numbers, the future damages. Punitive damages said, we believe that there was malice, we believe that there was fraud here, or we believe that there was oppression. We believe that the defendant's conduct was so egregious that it's not just enough to slap them on the hands with just a basic verdict or award, but we want to punish them, and we want to send a message that this conduct, that we as a jury believe that this conduct was beyond acceptable, beyond the norms of what a standard verdict would look like.
Back in 2021, Bill Cosby's only criminal conviction when it came to sexual assault was overturned on what many see as a technicality, because the Pennsylvania Supreme Court thought that he shouldn't have been tried for that in the first place because of a non-prosecutor agreement there. Do you think that that came to play at all in the juror's mind, thinking, he got released from prison early on that, so maybe punish his pocket here a little harder?
Absolutely. And I think overall the verdict itself represents the jury thinking about the litany of civil cases against Cosby, along with that criminal case, and thinking that, well, in this case, we want to make sure that there is punishment. And perhaps they were looking beyond Ms. Motsinger's case and looking at the totality of cases in the history with Mr. Cosby, and wanted to make a message and, make sure that this case, sent a message loud and clear that they're not happy with, and not just not happy, but outraged with Mr. Cosby's alleged conduct. But, his attorneys are planning to appeal, and I think they will be appealing, based on their belief that they don't think the evidence part of the appeal will be that the evidence doesn't support, in their minds, a punitive damages verdict, the $40 million piece of this in particular.
Bill Cosby has long denied any allegations of sexual assault. He's said he's never drugged or raped a woman. He said all sexual actions between him and another woman have always been consensual. They've always consented to getting quaaludes. That's what he's said. He said he's a womanizer to that effect. But his legal team here is arguing that he's blind now. He's 88 years old. He's not a threat to society. He can't leave the house. Does that matter here, especially because the story we're talking about is when he wasn't blind? He was 30 years old. That happened 50-ish years ago.
Well, I don't think it matters. I mean, the jury verdict reflects that. So the jury is basically sending a message, whether it's in the Cosby case, the Weinstein case, or other cases where the alleged incidents happened many, many years ago. The jury saying we're making up for lost time, and we are punishing individuals like Mr. Cosby, although they're up in age, although they may have some, disabilities at this time, we're punishing them for the conduct that's occurred over many, many years. So I don't think juries are taking that into account, in particular because these are individuals like Mr. Cosby of great wealth. And so they figure, independent of whatever physical ailments or whatever age the defendant may be at this time, that their wealth allows them to pay, to be punished and to pay for the allegations against them from many, many years ago.
To that point, his fortune was estimated to be at $128 million. This verdict is close to $60 million, but he has long said that his fortune's not worth that much. He's worth way less because he hasn't worked in a long time because of these years and years of allegations, and plus he has all of these legal fees to pay. His team said he will appeal. He's 88 years old. Donna Motzinger is 84 years old. Given all of this, do you think realistically she will ever see a cent of that money?
It's very possible that in lieu of an appeal, that the counsel for the parties will sit down at a table and see if they can negotiate or mediate a resolution in lieu of an appeal. If that's the case, if they are able to mediate this, then she will, it's certain that she will see some form of this jury verdict in the form of a compromise solution. But if they opt not to mediate or to seek to settle the case and the appeal is filed, that appeal could go on for many, many years. And while Ms. Motzinger and or her estate may continue their case against Mr. Cosby, it could be many years before they would ever see any type of payment, if any.
Like we've been talking about, this is an incident that happened over 50 years ago. How was Donna Motzinger able to even bring this up in the first place?
Well, in California, in 2025, a bill was passed called Assembly Bill 250. And basically that bill allows adult survivors of alleged sexual abuse or sexual assault from many, many years ago, where their statute of limitations would have otherwise expired. Like in this case, this happened in 1972, or is alleged to have happened in 1972. That's over 50 years ago. Under normal circumstances or before Assembly Bill 250, Ms. Motzinger would not have been able to bring this lawsuit against Mr. Cosby in the state of California. But Assembly Bill 250 opened up a short window for alleged victims of sexual abuse and sexual assault to have a 2-year window in order to bring claims of alleged sexual abuse from many, many years ago. And that window is from January 1, 2026 through December 31st, 2027. So in the news, we're hearing not just about Ms. Motzinger's case, but we're hearing about many cases coming forward of adults who are alleged to have been abused, whether it be in the church, the government systems, public, private places. And those victims are now coming forward within this 2-year window to pursue their claims. And we see a similar law in the state of New York, and I believe there are other states that have this law and or are considering having such a law on the books that would open up, opportunities for adult survivors of alleged abuse to come forward.
Back in 2022, a woman said Cosby sexually assaulted her at the Playboy Mansion in the 70s when she was just 16 years old. She was awarded $500,000. Then you see the success of this lawsuit. There are a handful of other lawsuits that are still out there. They're still in the works. What do you think this verdict means for them?
I think it sets the stage for the other lawsuits, and we don't know yet whether the jurors in the current lawsuits or future lawsuits will be sequestered or not, but they're not sequestered now. And so they are hearing the news of this case. They've heard the news of his criminal case and other allegations against them. And, jurors are just everyday people. And so the alleged facts in this case, the findings in this case, the verdict in this case will be in in the back of their minds as they are sitting and acting as jurors in some of those other cases. So I think this case will have a great impact on the decisions and the mindsets of any future juries that may hear cases against Mr. Cosby.
Angela Reddock-Wright, I really appreciate the time today, your expertise breaking this down for us. You are welcome back anytime.
Thank you, and I would love to come back anytime.